Christianity is a lot. We'll go with a lot. It's always been there, like the grass. You just gotta go touch it. Do you believe God? Hold on, go back. Thank you. This is furthered with the idea that before you even do it, you are forgiven. You know, one of the major foundations of what forgiveness is. Now, of course, that's different from reconciliation, which is a person-to-player thing. I'm using video game terminology. Uh-oh. You know what I mean. Grace is there. Forgiveness is already there. But reconciliation, is salvation through faith. Get it? Faith allows you to come to God and boom, reconciliation acquired. Well, you still have to keep doing it. No, you can go back. No, it's fine. No, it's fine. Go back. The grass is comfy. Okay, I know. Let's reformat what I just said. Okay, so Jesus had the cup, right? He was given the cup, but he then drank the cup of wrath. Okay, so the cup of wrath was meant for us, but it's not going to get to us because Jesus, right? Cool, awesome, sweet. We fail, but we take his name on us. So therefore, we have his merit, right? Cool, awesome, thanks. Look, I know how that sounded when I wrote it. It didn't feel right when I was rewatching it. Okay, I can freely admit that. Sometimes when I open my mouth, especially under pressure or testing, I kinda mess up what I actually believe. But the thing is, the cup of wrath is meant for us, yes. But it's not that the wrath of God is so just that he hates himself or his own son. It's the fact that Jesus offered to take it according to the Father's will. Now you can get into the argument if he had to, and if he planned to before creation, or if it was something like a contingency. That is an entirely different debate that I will not have in this short excerpt. Also, I want some chili cheese Fritos. I recognize that interpretation is debated, and that Sheol is the place of the dead, where even the prophets went. So naturally, we live in a wrong era for that understanding, because the gates of Sheol are kind of open currently at the moment. I recognize that. You don't have to tell me. Don't you hate it when you have to mention this? Too much detail? I think that sums up everything I feel about church leadership. That's a very shortened... that's a good shortening. Shortening. I'm gonna shorten. Brad. Around the time period of maybe 6th century? Getting kind of windy out there. So, decay would be perpetual... Na. Yeah, that was pretty heavy. So I will now attempt the ocarina play of a song, a opera that I wrote myself, and it is impromptu. Don't you forget it. I think I played the Song of Storms. I don't know what happened. It's storming. The argument isn't if the reforms were unnecessary, but the question is whether God's saving grace was absent from Christians who received one baptism in the name of Christ before the Reformation. I would say no. The ancient church confessed one baptism for the forgiveness of sins, and even many Protestant traditions have historically treated baptism as a real Christian sacrament rather than something to be repeated endlessly. So I cannot accept the idea that a person's baptism, especially infant baptism, once in the historic church, living and dying in faith, must be considered unsaved simply because their baptism does not match their later Protestant standard. Boo honking, yeah! Woo! And to be fair, Lutheran Protestantism affirms infant baptism kind of strongly. So there's a Protestant section. Like, bro, I can criticize later ecclesial accretions without concluding that every Christian denomination or every Christian baptized within the pre-Reformation church was unsaved. That is the implication for most Protestants, if they're not careful when they say things. If you go in like this and go out like this, that's probably because I believe it's more like you go in like this and then you come out like this. And then over time, you become this. Get it? Oh, no, I'm not doing bundle 3, no. If we can't pin that down at this point, there's an uh-oh. So anyway. It is not an acrostic, it is called an accretion. A-C-C-R-E-T-I-O-N. It's when a later added belief, ritual, devotion, or tradition that wasn't part of the earliest/original church practice gets integrated into the church under the guise of apostolic tradition. An acrostic is totally different because it's what you use like you have a poem, right? And every single letter of the poem that begins every single line should spell a word or something, or a message. That's what an acrostic is. I don't know why I said that. It's an accretion, but you can understand what I mean. This is different from anachronism, which anachronism is taking modern beliefs and reading it into the past, which is technically how you get accretions to begin with. You take modern tradition and then apply it to the past, even though it's likely not what that would have been. I mentioned things about the saints. Atmosphere! Everyone says I have an authority issue. They right. Hello, my fellow knees. One of you got an arrow stuck in you, I bet. Oh, okay. I'm not a felon. I could be one, though. So to answer the question, actually, I do think that consciously, if you hear and see the gospel and you don't accept it, uh-oh. And anything that involves bowing to an authority, I'd rather send my knee into than kneel before. I was a Catholic like you until I put my knee into the priest. I was a priest like you until I took a knee to the gut. Like, oh, you succulent beauty. No, that's weird. I am not no succulent beauty. You will not slurp me out of existence. Do you guys not imagine God always looking with 7 eyes and 7 horns directly into your soul? I do. Sometimes it's pretty cool, sometimes pretty creepy, and sometimes it's like, well, you know my thoughts, you know my heart. This isn't me saying that demons can be forgiven. That's not what I'm saying. Stop that! Stop! Don't infer that from what I'm saying. But truthfully, it does ring a bell of rhyme and pattern that it's obvious that even the worst human individuals still have some sway over time. So therefore, if Satan is allowed to ask to do evil things because of accusations, then obviously the accusation must be proven false. But everyone knows he's actually kind of using the accusation in order to do bad things, to have sway. So obviously, God gives that sway to prove Satan wrong. If not, oh well, I don't know what to say. Get him! Get him! I am not God. What are you talking to me for? I should shut up, really. Who honk and be quiet over here? If he is the Word, he doesn't need to speak to make everything right again.